So just after the big leak of texts of the young Republicans that turn out they're all racist, sexist, basically horrible people, turns out there's another Trump people that is just the same. Trump nominee says MLK holiday, this is a quote from them, belongs in hell, and that he has a mustache party streak. You can literally see it right here. These are the kind of people that Trump associates with. These are the kind of things that Trump brings out in people. And I was actually thinking about this. The best way to describe Trump, he's like an anti-coach, where, a good coach, a coach is someone who brings out the good things in you, right? The anti-coach is like the person who brings out the worst in you. If you want to call Trump something like, the Emperor from Star Wars, who's always like, oh, yeah, do the bad thing. Ooh, good, right? I mean, it really does feel like that. How does Trump find these people? Well, if that's what, your policies are and sort of what the things you're promoting, that's what you're going to get. There's more. You can read all of this stuff. MLK holiday was a 1960s George Floyd, and his holiday should ended up tossed in the seventh circle of hell where it belongs. That's, again, according to one of Trump's people. If you want to read through this stuff, you can. I'll just tell you, it's exactly what you think it would be. They say bad things about Vivek. They say bad things about, Chinese people. It's exactly what you think it would be. This is something that it's a reality, guys. I'm not white. I'm Vietnamese, if you don't know. I know how some of these circles fly in USA. I get it. I really do. I wrote a whole book about this stuff and sort of why I told myself I would never be around these kind of people, and I'm not. I just be frank with you. I don't associate with these type of thinking or people, right? These people who, and then this guy's like saying bad things about Black History Month, etc. So I can go on and rant about this stuff, but I do want to show you some positive things, because there are people out there to where we can have different political point of views, but it doesn't have to be racist. So let me give you an example. This is a Republican who's turning on Trump. Listen to this.
When you have 222,000 followers on TikTok, you become a little paranoid about saying or doing something that's going to cause you to lose followers. Today, October 18th, I've decided I'm willing to burn my account.
So this guy is a TikTok account. His name is Cave Goose. He says, it's okay to change your mind based on new information. It's okay to leave the GOP when the GOP has betrayed its cores. And I think there's a lot of people out there that, let's say you're a GOP person, like a Republican person, that's like, hey, I just want limited government. Okay? You don't have to be all that racist stuff, but you just like, I want limited government, which I think is a reasonable conversation to have. It's just a different idea of what we think government's role is. This particular gentleman, which I want to hear his point of view, he has a lot of interesting points to make. So let's listen to what he says. And again, this is someone who's like, I don't want to associate with those other types of Republicans, the MAGA types. Let's listen to what he says.
My wife and I were on an anniversary trip when the Access Hollywood tapes hit. And we heard a presidential candidate openly bragging about sexually assaulting women. And I can still remember turning to my wife, looking her in the eye, and said, I will never vote for that man.
So for me, that shows character right there. Okay. I mean, for many, the Access Hollywood tape where Trump's talking about, grabbing people by the, it should be just completely disqualifying. And for a lot of us, when we heard that, we're just like, how could you, go with Trump? There's lots of other people that you could go with. You don't need to pick someone like that to be the leader. So this guy saw it. His wife saw it. What else does he say?
And as a conservative and as a Christian, I assumed the GOP would get behind me in that mindset. But not only did they double down, they began declaring that Donald Trump was the messenger of God for our country.
And this guy actually gets it, right? He's pointing out the bizarre hypocritical actions of the MAGA people for a while now. If you claim you're a Christian, how could you possibly claim that Trump is? That's why it's all the joke, And it's I think Trump has really exposed not just racist people in USA, just a lot of hypocrites, and it's disgusting, to be perfectly frank. And I don't talk about this particular issue all of the time. I try to focus on the money, but I do want to bring this stuff up because when the money situation looks bad as it does, and Trump's policies are absolutely awful economically, then you realize, okay, so for people who say, I just go with Trump because he's good on the economy, well, do you realize that no, a lot of people are just going with Trump because frankly, they're dumb, racist, and they like Trump for that kind of stuff. They won't admit it necessarily in public. Some will, which we're seeing in these leaked texts, but also want to show you that some are actually do see it and are morally obligated to speak out about it. So he's basically referring to the fake Christian type. So listen to this. It's very interesting.
And it's not that Donald Trump is an awful person. It's that so many people have chosen to follow him in agreement. People that I called friends, people that I once respected and looked up to. Scripture tells us that the church is supposed to be our family, but I can't worship with those people. I can't worship with people who raise their hand praising Jesus on Sunday, and then they spend the rest of their week damning the people that Jesus died for because of their legal status in this country, or because of the color of their skin, or because they don't vote the same way that I vote.
And honestly, like, if you want to talk about Christianity, I mean, for me, this is a real Christian person, you know? And it's sad that we don't see enough of this kind of stuff. And I've told you guys this before on the channel. I was going to be a youth pastor when I was young. I grew up in the church. I read the Bible a few times. That was sort of, and I mean a few times, I mean the whole thing, not like just a few times, I mean like the whole thing. You know, you ask Trump, like, what was your favorite books or favorite parts of the Bible? He can't name anything. Seriously, that guy doesn't know anything about this stuff. This is real. I used to have to memorize verses in order to play board games. Like the adults would make you do that kind of crap. And, you know, for God who loved the world, who gave his only begotten son, he whosoever believes in me. Trust me, I know this stuff. There's all the time, right? And the thing is about, like, when you grow up in those environments, everyone around you is that way. And, you know, it's a long conversation about sort of why I decided not to become a youth pastor. Ultimately, I just decided to become a professor because I wanted to work with youth in a broader spectrum, not just with, you know, a smaller group of people.
So I'm going to the No Kings protest again. I went to the first one. I've gone to some others. I'm going to stand for democracy in this country. And yeah, I know we're a democratic republic, but that's not my point. I'm going to stand against the tyranny that I see. If you were raised GOP like me, it's okay to open your eyes and realize that that's not where you want to be anymore. I'm not saying become a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. There's a whole lot of problem with the Democratic Party right now. But we're given two alternatives. Either we roll over and allow this administration to destroy our Constitution, or we take a stand with whoever is willing to take a stand with us. And that includes Democrats. That includes independents. That includes socialists, for that matter. Anyone who's willing to take a stand to save our country, I'm going to stand beside. And I hope you will too.
And, you know, I may have disagreements with this guy. You know, he may have certain Republican things that he likes, but that could be just policy stuff like, hey, I think our taxes should be this way, or hey, I think government should be this way. And this is the kind of person you could actually have a conversation with. And I've had several Republican friends throughout my years that were like this. We disagree and stuff, but it's not like we hate each other. It's not like they're racist. It's like that, you know, anything like that. But Trump just seems to really been pushing the party in that direction. So I hope we see more of this. This is a gentleman that went to the No Kings protest. And then you got this kind of stuff, which people should come out and call out. This is actually from The Guardian. A lawmaker slam ICE after U.S. military veterans are arrested and injured, right? U.S. military veterans arrested and injured by ICE. Just to make that clear. And this is like 8 times at least that we've heard about. I'm sure there's even more. It's going to just keep happening. For me, I focus on the money stuff because, you know, this matters, $20 billion. But I do cover all of it when I can. U.S. banks are hunting for collateral to back the $20 billion Argentina bailout. Basically, what it boils down to is the Trumpers, right? First it was 20, now it's 40. They're trying to figure out ways to save Argentina, which is ludicrous. It's like absolutely ludicrous. Whereas the government shut down, Americans are suffering. That's Trump's goal here. And the banks are actually really worried that that money's gone, essentially. And so they're trying to figure out how can we structure whatever deal to like not lose everything. And it's insane to have to read any of this stuff. And I'll read the beginning of it just so you can see what I'm looking at. A group of banks, including JP Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, and Goldman Sachs, is struggling to put together a $20 billion loan to Argentina without leaving themselves too exposed to the virtually bankrupt South American country. People familiar with the matter said. And then it goes on and on how Argentina has a history of not paying back people. They're even cut off from international markets because like no one trusts Argentina yet. That's Trump's like friends, right? This is go help a bunch of Argentinians. That's Trump's goal. It's not even actually helping a bunch of Argentinians. It's actually bail out your buddy Milei so you have a place to run to after you're done with the White House. That's my point of view. I think what's happening here. But I just want to hear different points of views. I also want to show you what's being more exposed about the Trumpers this time around. And we're going to see how many Republicans, how many Christians out there really do believe the stuff that they tell each other on Sundays. That's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.